I was literally just drinking beer and laughing and having fun tracking vocals with Chris. It was amazing. It was, I feel like I'm finally myself in Cryptopsy, and I think that's important.
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time in the channel, hit subscribe right now.
Matt, thank you so much for your time this morning. And as you can see, you know, I'm not at home, calling you from a hotel room in Madison, Wisconsin for the Mad with Power Festival, now obviously in the States. And this morning at breakfast, somebody was asking me why I wasn't going to church this morning. And I told them, well, I actually have to, I can't.
You are going to church.
I don't want to. Church. There you go. I told him I have to have a conversation with the singer of a metal band. And the answer to that was, well, that's going to destroy your soul, good man. So, Matt,
that makes me happy.
Serious question. Why are you destroying my soul, you godless deceiver?
Well, you know, it's for the sake of letting all of your listeners and people that watch your channel hear about the brand new Cryptopsy record that's coming up on September 8th, As Gomorrah Burns. So we're all going to burn. That's basically what I'm going to tell everyone.
This is, in many ways, a comeback album for Cryptopsy. It's not the first time Cryptopsy has a comeback. The latest comeback is always the most important one. But, okay, you guys have been here, done that before. You've gone through these motions. But did you approach this one differently for all the reasons?
I personally don't necessarily see it as a comeback because we've been so busy. People always seem to think that we haven't done anything since 2012, but we released 2 EPs, The Book of Suffering, Tome I and Tome II, which kept us very, very busy. For myself, I approached this record with everything that I had in me. It's the first record that I'm releasing basically since I've had the podcast, and I feel like having my podcast really helped me level up in many aspects of the industry. Being able to communicate with people, being able to organize myself, doing Photoshop and stuff like that is just, it's like I've been leveling up because of the podcast, which is amazing. Vocally, I have a new approach. It's something that I discovered wrapping up Tome II, that I had this voice in me that I wasn't utilizing, a false chord scream. Which is funny because that's how I started screaming way back in the day, and then I switched it for the self-titled to try to be super brutal, and it sort of worked against me. So Christian Donaldson loved my false chord scream, and I started using it live whenever I do Lord Worm songs, and I just started just using it all the time. So I use it all the time when I'm prepping for the tour, and even the Mike DeSalvo stuff that we've done and the stuff that I'm going to be doing. The Tome, the tracks we're doing, I'm doing it all false chords, so a whole new vocal approach is something that came out throughout the pandemic and recording onto the record. Yeah, no, it's just we're all in. We don't see it as a comeback. We see it as we had time to put into the record, and we used that time to make it as good as possible. It's one of the silver linings of the pandemic, is that it granted us extra months to really analyze the music, and Chris really pushed himself to get the best Cryptopsy record that he could ever write.
When you adopt a new way of doing things in your in your example, a different way to sing, that could be an interesting balance between I found, well, quite literally my own voice, and doing things in something that you do, but you're also doing it slightly different in a band that has a legacy where you know that all the people are going to look at everything and put stuff side by side. Allowing yourself to adopt a different way that you know is better for you. Is that scary at the same time? To come out with something different?
I honestly feel liberated. I feel like I've been so hindered and held back from my own fears of being Cryptopsy's vocalist, because The Unspoken King was so negatively received. And I listened to it this past week, and there's some really horrible parts that I would wish was not there, like that whole weird middle section in Contemplate Regicide. Go listen to it, people. It's horrible.
Or don't.
No, it's horrible. But now I'm finally having fun, is really what's happening. I remember tracking the record with Chris, and which was sponsored by my good friends at Overhop Canada. They hooked us up with a bunch of beer, and I was literally just drinking beer and laughing and having fun tracking vocals with Chris. It was amazing. It was, I feel like I'm finally myself in Cryptopsy, and I think that's important. I was always not trying to be someone else, but I was trying to be something that people would like love, and doing that like fry scream that I was doing, tunnel voice that I was doing before, was because I wanted to scream super deep, and it was working against me, because now I feel like I'm screaming deeper with a natural voice, just my natural false chord scream. So I'm finally having fun, and I think that's important. And I think that the pandemic also helped give some clarity on that are we ever going to be able to do this again? You know, that question of this is gone and now it's back. So I'm eagerly looking forward to performing and getting on stage and connecting with fans again, and literally just enjoy myself, as opposed to before where I was afraid. I was afraid I would suck, afraid that people wouldn't like me. And it took many years. I've been in the band 16 years for me to actually just relax and enjoy myself.
Is that purely maturity and also people said, or is that also did that outside injection of no, that really would be good for you? You know, when producers tell you that, is that something that was needed, or do you think you would have figured it out?
No, Chris is he's pretty vocal all the time. He's that band member that when you step off stage, he's like, you fucked up that part right there, that one. He's that guy. So he's very, very vocal about what he likes. And that is helpful. That is very helpful. And I don't think it's maturity. I probably wouldn't have stumbled upon it myself. I would have kept, because it's habits and routines. Right? And even when I adopted the new voice live for the first time, I had to like keep reminding myself how to do it. Now it's like second nature, but it's like, oh yeah, it's like that. Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, okay. But I had to like mentally figure it out on stage, which is probably not the best place to do that, which shows how much we practiced before that tour. But we're doing better now. But no, maturity definitely, and just the maturity of like enjoying myself when, because we're privileged to be able to record music and release music and have people tell us that they like it and or hate it, which is their prerogative. They're allowed. People are allowed to enjoy to dislike things. They're totally allowed to do that. And I think that it's fun. Just I need to enjoy myself because it might just go away.
You already mentioned, like, you know, you allow yourself vocally to go into places that you haven't been before and maybe achieve what you were trying to achieve all those years ago. I think this came out as at the same time, you know, it's a very dark and super ferocious album, but at the same time, for me, I had a chance not to listen to the full album. Maybe also the most accessible Cryptopsy record at the same time. Is that something that you find as well? This interesting
I feel
discrepancy?
that I don't see it being accessible. I see it being easily digestible because of the way that the songwriting is done, and it's done on purpose because it's extremely complex. The whole music is still extremely in your face and complex, but it feels square. Mm-hmm. And I say this about Stuart Copeland all the time. Stuart Copeland is an amazing drummer, and one of his biggest strengths was that he would do insane things, but he would make you feel like it's square, like it makes, but it's not. And that's what Chris and Flo have really accomplished writing this one, Ollie too, obviously. For myself, another thing that brings the accessibility to it is Chris rewrote all my patterns to make it extremely musical. It's probably my most musical vocal performance, and that's because Chris completely understands every aspect of the song. I had the intention of keeping it very square so that the listener would be able to follow me, and he took my idea and made it even better because it flows with the music, and there's a lot of groovy elements of the album, and my voice starting on an up instead of on a downbeat.
Right.
It really adds to that, and it's something that Chris really pushed me to do throughout the whole week that I was with him, and it's something that when I'm writing now for future stuff that I'm looking at, I'm like still doing it. So I've adopted this technique, so I'm excited for that. But definitely the accessibility of it comes from the grooves, comes from memorable hooks, while still being super extreme in my eyes.
But one of the things that also, that kind of in that same vein of, keeping it square and making it sound like it's straightforward when if you lift the hood, it's really complex.
Exactly.
It's also, it flies by, which is great for an album, right? It's
that was the point. We wanted it to be something that you could digest all at once and be disappointed that it's over.
Exactly.
There's these albums, and I have many albums that I love that the later tracks I never make it to.
Right.
You need it's like podcasts too. Actually, there's like a sweet spot podcast. You want a person to be able to listen to it on their commute and finish it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that falls into the writing of a record. So we had discussed 33, 38 minutes was exactly where we wanted to hit, and we fell right in there.
And talking about, making it to the end, I think that for me so far, and I'm sure that it'll change over time as I listen to the album more, but I think Praise the Filth, the closer of the album, so far is my favorite song.
It's most
really
definitely my favorite song. Yeah.
What I do like as well is that, at the start of the album, because I feel like, there's always... There's fashion in hard music, and there are things that are all of a sudden popular, and something that for the last 2 years has been, in my eyes, annoyingly popular is the use of extended intros and just fat that can be trimmed.
Exactly.
And where I've seen a lot of releases this year also already that start with a 2-minute cool intro. It can be really cool. You guys waste no time. You push play and boom, you guys are back. You don't waste any second. I assume that based on what you were saying that was a very conscious decision as well.
There was a discussion of doing something, but we were so afraid of it being cheesy that it never came to fruition, because the whole album is about pairing the biblical story of of Sodom and Gomorrah and the internet together. So we were like, what can we do? What is the internet? And everything's been done. There's no way that we were gonna do the mage. It's too. We would have been so old. So it never came to fruition. And then we handed in the record, but it works to our favor. Straight into the face. It's something that we wanted, and it worked out super cool. And that intro, that really beginning intro part of Lascivious Undivine, is actually, the rhythm of it is something that Christian's grandfather used to play on the table with his fingers, like a little like a little clicking thing, and Chris wrote a riff to beat that, to meet that rhythm, and the working title of that song, and we still call it that, is Grand-Père, which is grandfather in French, which is interesting. So I think it's a nice little homage to his grandfather there. But no intros. We wanted to hit straight into it. It's sort of working against us right now because we're going on tour and we sort of need an intro to start the set. So now we need to make something new, and that's an extra little bit of work on Christian's plate that I'm going to remind him about in a moment, because he has to do it.
You mentioned the grooviness, and we mentioned Olivier a few times already. His bass is definitely prominent, and his groove is prominent, maybe in no other song as much as in The Righteous Lost, which sounds like a really fun song to play live. He really lets go there. Should we? You mentioned already, making intros for the live set and what have you. So if I'm already dreaming of seeing you guys live in the near future, should we expect some fun new songs like that to see?
There will definitely be a lot of new songs in the set, and it's funny because I've been doing a bunch of interviews today, and you're the second person to talk about The Righteous Lost and it being a standout bass performance from Ollie. Ollie is a very proficient bassist, and him and Chris, like when they're in a room together, if you're there with them, all you do is laugh because they just have so much fun. So that's basically what they did. They went into the studio. Ollie lived at Chris's house for like a week or so or two between his cattle decapitation tours that he was doing last summer, and they tracked all the bass just having fun. And Ollie really gets to showcase his talents in Cryptopsy. Cattle decapitation is a little bit more in the background because that's what's required in that band. But Cryptopsy, you can really just have fun and play, and he dances around the riff. He's a very proficient bassist. But yes, new set lists. I pushed for a lot of new tracks, new era Cryptopsy tracks. So it's heavy on the new era Cryptopsy, but it's all should be there in my opinion. Definitely there'll be legacy tracks from None So Vile, and we're honoring Ungentle Exhumation. So I'm excited. I'm excited to play these new songs live and see how they go over, because it's happened in the past where you're like, this is a live song, and then we play it and we're like, that didn't work. And then we're like, why didn't it work? You know. I love that song.
Well, maybe you should just start with doing like, after the show surveys and just go like, tell us how we did. We talk about building set lists. There's shows coming, obviously. You guys signed with Nuclear Blast, which, compared to doing everything independently, will also help with not just getting the album out there and on the right Spotify playlist, but also with the right tour packages and all that kind of good stuff. So everybody watching this interview, to wrap us up, what should we keep our eyes open for Cryptopsy 3.1 in 2023 as you are promoting this album?
We are hitting the road in September, the Carnival of Death tour alongside Abysmal Dawn, Hate, Visceral Disgorge, Reaping Asmodea, and Warforged. That's going across all the states, 29, 30 shows. I'm going to Toronto. Jasper's going to be there. It's going to be fun. We're going to drink some beer. Jamie's going to be there from Folly Brewing. It's going to be Chris Thrash is going to be there. It's going to be a good night. We're also going to Asia in December. A few shows have been announced. There's 10 shows that are coming up in Asia in December, and we are working on a bunch of stuff for 2024. So we intend to tour extensively this record, and we're very excited to do so. I think that it's a record that deserves world showcasing, and I'm hoping to get on the road with a lot of my friends and get to play in places that I hypothetically haven't played before, get back to places that I have played. And in May 2024, we are doing MDF. We are playing Blasphemy Made Flesh in its entirety, honoring the 30th anniversary of that. So that's going to be super fun. A lot of work to figure out Lord Worm's lyrics, but I'm going to figure it out because recently I've unlocked, it's as if I found the cipher of Lord Worm's lyrics and grunts, and it's like this whole clarity is coming to me that I've after 16 years, I finally understand what he's saying.
Matt, thank you so much for your time. It's always fun talking to you. Super excited for the new record to come out and all those shows that are coming. You will be extremely busy, so enjoy this calm before the storm still. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. I always enjoy hanging out with you, and I hope that you, don't burn too hotly in the pits of hell because of this conversation.
I fear that sin has sailed. Awesome.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.